We are looking at figure 13.1 on page 252 of your textbook. So we're talking about the cap and trade program and saying that this program says there's a certain amount of emissions allowed, so it caps the amount of emissions allowed, and then it writes out permits according to that cap. And if you want to emit, you have to have a permit in order to emit. So this ensures that the total amount of emissions is equal to this cap. Now the question is, are companies going to be buyers of permits or sellers? Now they can be, they are going to be both buyers and sellers, and that depends on your marginal abatement cost curve. So let me just draw the marginal abatement cost curve. There we go. So the government says now the cap is going to be 25 tons of emissions, or let's make this in 100 tons. So 25 means 2,500 tons. That's the cap. Now with this cap, a price will develop of, let's call it $40. Okay, because there's only 25, it means they get a certain value, and this value, as determined by buying and selling the permits, is $40. Now, there's a specific company, let's call it Firm A. And Firm A initially receives not 25, but let's make it 1,800 permits. So they're allowed to emit 1,800 tons of emissions, and over here that gives them a marginal abatement cost of $60. Now if they receive 80, it's more expensive for them to reduce their emissions from 25 to 1,800 tons of emissions, because it's $60 instead of 40. So it would be more profitable for them to buy permits. They can buy permits which costs only $40 and emit 2,500 tons of emissions. On the other side, if they were given, let's say, 3,500 tons or 3,500 tons worth of permits, and then let's say the marginal abatement cost is $20, then it would be profitable for them to sell these permits, sell that 10 permits, because they can reduce their emissions cheaper. If the marginal abatement cost is $20, for cheaper than the value of a permit. So they can sell their permits until they get to this area over here, and 2,500 tons. So this they're going to sell, and that's the idea. When your marginal abatement cost is more than the cost of your permit, so the cost of your permit over here is $40, then you would buy permits. When your marginal abatement cost is less than the cost of your permit, you will sell permits. Very important. You don't really have to be able to draw this. You should just understand that the situation, when we trade, we get to the most efficient level of emissions.